Hello everybody, welcome back to the channel. If you haven't been here before, my name is Debbie and I read a lot of books. Today's book is Blindspot by Paula Hawkins. This is a quick read section of Borrow Box at 128 pages in crime and thriller and general fiction. Let's get straight into the blurb, shall we? How can you say things like this? How can you be so blind? Since they were kids, Edie, Jake and Ryan have been the closest of friends. It's been the three of them against the world. Edie thought the bonds between them were unbreakable. So when Jake is brutally murdered and Ryan accused of the crime, her world is shattered. Edie is alone for the first time in years, living in the remote house that she and Jake shared. She is grief-stricken and afraid, with good reason, because someone is watching. Someone has been waiting for this moment. Now that Edie is alone, the past she tried so hard to leave behind is about to catch up with her. This was a great quick read. When I realised how short it was, I was just like, oh, okay. This is going to be fun. You're mainly seeing this from Edie's point of view. She is married to Jake and Ryan is one of her best friends. They have been best friends since school. They've always been thick as thieves. And Jake is a screenwriter. Edie just doesn't have a job and Ryan is in some kind of marketing type job, which he doesn't earn as much money as you think he does, basically. So at the beginning of the book, Edie is at Ryan's house. Turns out she and Jake had a fight, and so she's staying with Ryan, and the police turn up, and at first Edie thinks that there's been some sort of argument between Jake and Ryan, and they're just like, actually no, Jake has been found dead in your house. So they live in Scotland. The house that they live in, it's like nothing from the front, but then it's on the edge of a cliff. It's on the cliff edge and just has glass across the back, so you've got the beautiful views, but it's kind of quite remote, and you find out that Edie actually feels quite lonely out there, that she never wanted the house. It was inherited from Jake's side of the family, and so Edie feels quite lonely and lost out there because it's like half an hour to the nearest supermarket by car, but she doesn't drive, so yeah, she just feels very alone in the house when she's there. And throughout the book you realise she doesn't particularly want to go back. When she starts to go back to kind of help identify things for the police, she is very much like, I really don't want to go back, I really don't want to go back into that house, but the police convince her, just like, no, we need to know if there's anything missing, you know, was this a robbery gone wrong type thing, because they're trying to determine what exactly happened. When Edie goes back to the house and she is able to identify things, and she's just like, his screenwriter award is missing off the mantelpiece. Yeah, so you've got that missing, and then the police already know that his phone and his laptop are missing. It feels like so much happens in a very quick amount of time in this book, because you know at the beginning that Edie and Jake are arguing a lot, because just before she goes to stay over at Ryan's house, she and Jake have an argument because she is texting or getting texts from Ryan quite a lot. There's lots of question marks over whether there's actually an affair there, because that's what I actually originally thought when I was reading it. It was just like, is this like a love affair happening on the side? But then that doesn't really go anywhere afterwards, so it's just like, oh, maybe I just misread it, and it is just more of a friendship, especially as you go more back into their history of their friendship and what happened there. A lot of it does come back to their friendship as teenagers and early 20s, and one particular party that they all attended when they were teenagers. The fight that makes her leave the house is she gets a message from Ryan, and Jake is there going, well, who's texting you? And instead of saying Ryan's texting me, because she knows it's a bit of a hot spot at that point, she goes, oh, it's my friend Lana. My friend Lana's texted me because she wants to do this run. And then in a way to kind of one-up him, she's like, oh, do you really want to see my phone? Because she thinks it's like a bit of an empty threat, like he's not actually going to want to see it. He's going, actually I will look at your phone. And at the point where like, she knows she's lied to him. She was just like, well, why on earth do you need to see my phone? I'm not going to give you my phone just so you can look at my messages. But yeah, but that is the argument that kind of leads her to leave the house. But that is the last time she saw him. And then there just becomes a bit of a knock-on effect from the argument. and then knowing that Ryan was on his way to see Jake when Jake was killed. I'll admit, as it goes through and you find out that some people aren't who you think they are, and you find out what secret that Edie has kept, because I mean she's already not the most likeable person at the beginning of the story because she is lying to her husband about who's messaging her, and the fact that there was this kind of undertone of at least an emotional affair between Edie and Ryan, especially when you find out that when the police came into the house, Ryan was holding the award. Yeah, so I just found it was a lot packed into 128 pages, and I just really enjoyed it. I'd be honest, I quite like Paula Hawkins' books anyway. Girl on the Train was obviously the first book I ever read by her, and I was hooked by that. Into the Water was the next one, which I enjoyed, but I still prefer The Girl on the Train. For a short story, this is close to tying with The Girl on the Train, for one of my favourite Paula Hawkins stories, because it's so good. And the title of the book is quite nuanced as well, because it applies to more than one thing, because you find out that Edie has an eye condition, which is why she can't drive, which means she literally has blind spots in her vision, so she's legally not allowed to drive, which is why she doesn't. But then you also realise that she has blind spots in her friendships. Well, she has blind spots in her relationships and her friendships. She has a blind spot in regards to her relationship with Jake. She has blind spots in her friendship/relationship with Ryan. And then you also for later find out that there's a blind spot in relationship to her friendship with Lana, who was part of the argument with Jake. And then as you go through the story you realise there was a communication happening between Jake and Lana as well. But yeah, the way that everything comes back, and when you delve into the history of their friendship and the things that Edie has done to protect that friendship group, she's one of those characters where she's just got so many layers to her, but at the same time, even though it is done in the third person, she is one of those people who is an unreliable narrator. But yeah, it's split into two parts. Part 1, chapters 1 to 8 is July, and then part 2, chapters 9 to 18 is November. So July is the first part of the story, and then it cuts to November after someone is sent to prison for Jake's murder. So you're seeing the reactions to those, and yeah. I mean, I said in the blurb that Ryan is accused of it, which is how she is left alone throughout the first part of the book, where she's going, I don't want to go back to the house, you know, I was miserable there, I was lonely, and, you know, it is on the edge of a cliff, and, you know, we are aware that parts of the cliff are eroding into the sea, you know, that doesn't seem like the greatest house to live in, really. And I was just there thinking, is this house going to end up in the ocean? It didn't quite go there, but there was a point that was just like, is this how some sort of like end thing is going to happen, with there going to be some kind of confrontation and everybody just falling to the ocean? But no, that's just my brain just going to the worst of it. I just found it a really, really good short story to get my teeth into. So yeah, anybody who likes good murder mystery will probably greatly appreciate this book, and if you're a fan of Paula Hawkins already, you will not be disappointed. So yeah, Blindspot, Paula Hawkins. The tagline is, you'll never see it coming. There you go. I didn't see it coming. I did not make that connection at all. Then just as things were coming out, and I was just like, wait, what? How? Why did I not see this coming? Yeah. Thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to subscribe, and I will see you next time with another video. Mwah. Bye, my lovelies.